Have you ever heard anyone say that your words are just 7% of your message? Well, I'm here today to tell you that it is not true. That figure came from Dr. Albert Mehrabian, who is a professor of psychology at UCLA. And I heard him talking about this in a BBC4 radio interview he did back in August 2009. And the first question the interviewer, Tim Harford, asked him was, is it true that your body language is 93% of your message? And I'm going to quote back to exactly what Dr. Albert Mehrabian said. Absolutely not. Whenever I hear that misquote or misrepresentation of my findings, I cringe, because it should be obvious to anybody who would use any amount of common sense that that's not a true, correct statement. And then he went on to give an example. He said, say you're looking for a pencil, and I said to you, the pencil you're looking for is upstairs in the desk in the third drawer down. He said, I couldn't explain that to you without using words. I could point, but it'd be much more difficult for you to find the pencil. So Albert Mehrabian went on to talk about his research, and I, on this video, want to share with you two key takeaways at the end of this. And one is relating to research in general, and secondly is a learning for you. It's just one learning, but it's a good one. So what Mehrabian set around about to do with his research back in the 1960s was to look at the impact of the spoken word and facial expressions, and look on an ability to discern liking in another person. In other words, feeling related. So they want to discover the inconsistencies between the meaning conveyed by the spoken word and what would be displayed by non-verbal means. So we did the study in two stages. The first stage, he selected 17 women. Now, just to say, research with only one sex is probably not necessarily a good idea, but he got 17 women, and he selected a number of words that would clearly convey positive feelings just by themselves. So words like, for example, honey, dear, love. He then took neutral words like maybe, so, really, what? And then he took negative words like brute, don't, terrible, no, and my favorite word, scram, which is a word I haven't heard for years. So then he had speakers attempting to say these words while conveying feelings of liking, attempting to say them while conveying feelings of neutrality, and while conveying feelings of negativity. In short, when he broke it all down and did a second study, when he combined the two pieces of research, he found that the impact of the words was just 7%, the tonality was 38%, and the visuals, in particularly the facial expressions, was 55%. So his research is misquoted. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've heard people saying your words are 7% of your message, or your non-verbals are 93%. And it's just not true. And in fact, one of the final questions that he was asked in the interview was, can these figures be used? And he just said, there is just no question that you cannot extrapolate my findings to communication in general. And yet, that's what people do. Two key takeaways from this video/rant. Number one, if you're going to quote figures, don't just Google and grab a figure. Make sure you verify it. Personally, I know when I did my TEDx talk, I quoted from David Beckham. I went to a video of David Beckham speaking to see the words coming out of his mouth. Likewise with Mehrabian, I listened to him saying the words, not relying on anybody else to interpret. So be really clear that you've got your facts right if you're using research, because if you don't, really, your credibility is going to be seriously challenged. And the second thing I would suggest to you is, if you're speaking with emotion, which you should be, because people rationalize with logic and buy your idea, your product, your service, whatever. You're communicating with emotion. When you're speaking with emotion, be genuine, because if you're not, there's a very good chance that your body language or your facial expressions and your tone will give the game away.